In London, a cathedral. The pallbearers, including Steve, carry the coffin draped in the Union flag down the aisle. They set it gently at the altar. At the altar, a single candle flickers beside a framed photograph of Peggy Carter in her military uniform. The small plaque beneath it reads, "Margaret, Peggy Carter." The pallbearers gently set the coffin down. Steve takes a step back, his gaze locked on the flag-covered wood for a beat too long before he finally turns and walks to his seat in the front pew. Sam is on his left. Laila is on his right, her posture still and respectful. As the hymn continues, Layla's eyes linger on the coffin. Her lips move quietly. "Rest in peace, Peggy," Laila whispers. She glances at Steve, noting the stiffness in his shoulders and the way his hands curl against his knees. Without a word, she reaches over and lays her hand gently over his, giving it a light squeeze. "She was proud of you, Steve, not just for what you have done, but for the man you still are," Laila murmurs softly. Steve swallows hard, his eyes still fixed forward. After a long moment, he gives her a faint nod, a silent acknowledgement of her words. The choir's final note fades. The priest steps up to the lectern. "And now, I would like to invite Sharon Carter to come up and say a few words," the priest says. Steve keeps his gaze down, lost in thought, until Sam subtly nudges him. Steve looks up and sees Sharon walking to the podium. Recognition flashes in his eyes. Margaret Carter was known to most as a founder of SHIELD, but I just knew her as Aunt Peggy, Sharon says. Steve realizes who exactly Sharon is and takes a surprised breath. She had a photograph in her office. Aunt Peggy standing next to JFK. As a kid, that was cool. But it was a lot to live up to. "Which is why I never told anyone we were related," Sharon said as she looks directly at Steve. "I asked her once how she managed to master diplomacy and espionage in a time when no one wanted to see a woman succeed at either. And she said, compromise where you can, but where you cannot, do not. Even if everyone is telling you that something wrong is something right. Even if the whole world is telling you to move. It is your duty to plant yourself like a tree, look them in the eye and say, 'No, you move,'" Sharon said. The words hang in the air, heavy and unwavering. Steve draws in a slow breath, and Layla's hand tightens briefly over his again, not needing to say anything this time. After the funeral, the mourners began to filter out into the cool London air, their footsteps echoing on the stone floor. Steve remained inside, still dressed in black, standing halfway down the aisle. His gaze was fixed on the altar, where Peggy's coffin had been only moments earlier. Laila approached quietly from his side, her black heels soft against the flagstone. She stood beside him without speaking at first, letting the silence breathe. Laila said gently, "She'd hate to see you torturing yourself like this." Steve's eyes flicked toward her, his face etched with grief, but softened by the familiarity of her voice. Laila continued, "Peggy would not want you doubting who you are. You are still the man she believed in. That has not changed." Steve exhaled through his nose. A faint nod's the only sign her words had landed. Movement near the entrance caught Layla's eye. Natasha was walking down the aisle toward them, her heels sharper, her expression careful. Laila gave Steve's arm a light squeeze. "I'll give you 2 a minute," she murmured before stepping back and moving toward the side of the cathedral. Natasha reached him. Steve turned to her, speaking without introduction. "When I came out of the ice, I thought everyone I had known was gone. Then I found out that she was alive. I was just lucky to have her," Steve said. "She had your back too," Natasha said. "Who else signed?" Steve asked. "Tony, Rhodey, Vision," replied. "Clint?" Steve asked. Says he's retired, Natasha said as she smiled slightly. What about Wanda? Steve asked. TBD, to be determined. I am off to Vienna for the signing of the Accords. There is plenty of room on the jet, Natasha said. Steve sighs and bows his head. Just because it is the path of least resistance does not mean it is the wrong path. Staying together is more important than how we stay together, Natasha said, as Natasha almost seems to be convincing herself. What are we giving up doing it? Steve asked quietly. Natasha sighed. Steve shook his head, unconvinced. I am sorry, Nat. I cannot sign it, Steve said. I know, Natasha said. Then what are you doing here? Steve asked. I didn't want you to be alone, Natasha said as she pulled him in for a hug. Come here, Natasha said softly. After a while, Natasha left for the Accords, and Steve, Sharon and Laila walked to the hotel. At the hotel, Sharon and Steve stood near the elevator, talking quietly. Laila was close enough to hear, standing at Steve's side, her hand resting lightly against his arm as she let him have the conversation. My mum tried to talk me out of enlisting, but, not Aunt Peggy. She bought me my first thigh holster, Sharon said. Very practical, Steve said. And stylish. Sharon smirked as Sharon and Steve wait by an elevator. They stand facing each other. Layla's lips curved faintly, eyes glinting. Definitely a Peggy move, she said softly, earning a flicker of a smile from Steve. CIA has you stationed over here now? Steve asked. In Berlin, Joint Terrorism Task Force, Sharon replied. Right. Sounds fun, Steve said. I know, right? Sharon smiled. Laila glanced up at Steve, the corner of her mouth quirking. I think her definition of fun's different from yours, she teased under her breath. I have been meaning to ask you, when you were spying on me from across the hall, Steve said. You mean, when I was doing my job? Sharon cut in. Did Peggy know? Steve asked. She kept so many secrets. I did not want her to have one from you, Sharon said. The elevator arrives and the doors slid open. Thanks for walking me back, the both of you, Sharon said. Sure, Steve said, and Laila gave him a small squeeze on the arm before letting him step forward with Sharon. Sam approached quickly, his tone sharp. Steve, Laila, there is something you got to see, Sam said, and Layla's head turned immediately at the urgency in his voice. A bomb hidden in a news van, news anchor said on the TV. Who's coordinating? Sharon asked. Ripped through the UN building in Vienna, news anchor said. Good, they are solid. Forensics, Sharon said. More than 70 people have been injured. At least 12 are dead, including Wakanda's King T'Chaka. Officials have released a video of a suspect who they have identified as James Buchanan Barnes, the Winter Soldier, the infamous Hydra agent, linked to numerous acts of terrorism and political assassinations, news anchor said. Layla's breath caught. She turned towards Steve immediately, her hand finding his again. We both know he didn't do this, Laila said quietly but firmly. Steve's eyes met hers, and his fingers tightened around hers in silent agreement before turning back to the screen. I have to go to work, Sharon said. The elevator doors closed, leaving Steve, Laila and Sam exchanging tense looks at Vienna streets. All MI6, see if we can get microforensics to hurry this up. We need the whole team here in 2 hours or it is not worth it, Sharon said briskly as she strides through with a man in a green jumpsuit. They pass T'Challa, who sits on a bench looking stunned. There is a cut on his head. Natasha sits on the next bench along. I'm very sorry, Natasha said. In my culture, death is not the end. It is more of a stepping off point. You reach out with both hands, and Bast and Sekhmet, they lead you into the green veldt where you can run forever, T'Challa said as he glances at her. He is holding an ornate silver ring which he toys with between his fingers. That sounds very peaceful, Natasha said. My father thought so. I am not my father, T'Challa replied as he puts the ring on his finger. T'Challa, task force will decide who brings in Barnes, Natasha said. Don't bother, Miss Romanoff. I will kill him myself, T'Challa said, his voice tight as he clenches his fist before walking away. Steve phones Natasha. He is standing on the street in a cap and dark glasses. Yeah, Natasha said. You all right? Steve asked. Ah, yes, thanks. I got lucky. I know how much Barnes means to you. I really do. Stay home. You will only make this worse, or for all of us. Please, Natasha said as she, frowning, she looks around, then stands up. Are you saying you'll arrest me? Steve asked. Number someone will, if you interfere. That is how it works now, Natasha said. If he's this far gone, Nat, I should be the one to bring him in, Steve said. Why? Natasha asked. Because I'm the one least likely to die trying, Steve replied, then he ends the call. Shit, Natasha muttered. Steve approaches Sam and Layla sitting at the counter of a coffee shop. She tells you to stay out of it, Sam said, and he's also in a cap and shades. Steve nodded once. Might have a point, Sam said. Layla shot him a look. Or she is wrong. He is your best friend, Steve. You are not going to sit this one out. He'd do it for me, Steve said. 1945, maybe. I just want to make sure we considered all our options. The people that shoot at you usually wind up shooting at me, Sam said. Layla smirked faintly. That's why you keep me around. Sharon arrives by Steve. Tips have been pouring in since that footage went public. Everybody thinks the Winter Soldier goes to their gym. Most of it's noise. Except for this, Sharon said as she slides Steve a file. My boss expects a briefing pretty much now. So that's all the head start you're going to get, Sharon continued. Thank you, Steve said. And you are gonna must hurry. We have orders to shoot on sight, Sharon said. Steve glanced at Layla, their eyes meeting for a brief moment, her silent nod telling him she was with him no matter what came next.